I'm on a whole new
talk about the atmosphere and the atmospheric layers. Let's get started. Now, the atmosphere. The atmosphere is defined as the layer of gases that surround the Earth. Now, there are several gases making up the atmosphere, most of which contains molecules that are located in the lower part of the atmosphere. So, what gases are in our atmosphere? Well, looking at the pie chart, you can see there are three main different breakups of the gases found in our atmosphere. There is nitrogen, which takes up roughly 78% or most of the. We have oxygen, which takes up 21%. And there's 1% that's dedicated to trace gases. Now, these trace gases include argon, carbon dioxide, neon, methane, krypton, and hydrogen. But it, of course, it's mostly nitrogen with oxygen representing 21%. Now, what are some sources of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere? Well, burning fossil fuels releases CO2 into our atmosphere. So this causes the greenhouse effect, and CO2 and other gases act as a blanket which hold in heat close to the Earth. Now, too much of this, of course, is a bad thing, and some of it is a good thing. So we have to kind of make sure it's at a homeostatic or regular notion of layer of this material and not too much. So, what else is in our atmosphere? Well, water vapor. If you recall from the water cycle, from evaporation and transpiration, one tree gives off 40,000 gallons of water vapor in a year. That's a lot of water in the air. Solid particles, particulate matter, dust, smoke, pollen, salt, and NOx and VOx from a car can also contribute to our atmosphere as well. The ozone. Now, O3 or ozone is a form of oxygen with 3 atoms of oxygen instead of 2. The layer of ozone in the atmosphere absorbs UV lights or UV radiation from the sun and heats the earth. So, ozone is a good thing. Too much can be a bad thing. So let's talk about the atmospheric layers because that's where the magic is going to happen. And there are 4 of them you need to be aware of them. And we're going to talk about them. Now, it's believed that onions have layers, ogres have layers, the Earth's atmosphere has layers. Earth's atmosphere is made up of layers that have distinct characteristics. And we're going to talk about some of those characteristics today. These layers are the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, and the thermosphere. Let's find out where these layers are located in relation to the Earth's surface and how they are affected by temperature. The troposphere. First, the troposphere is about 10 miles wide. It represents the bottom layer. The troposphere is the lowest layer of the atmosphere that lies next to the Earth's surface. Troposphere. Most of the air that makes up the atmosphere is found in the troposphere. Troposphere. It extends to about 14 kilometers, around 9 miles above the Earth, and is where virtually all weather takes place. Troposphere. Air temperature decreases as you increase in height for the troposphere, approaching the next layer, which is called the stratosphere. So as you move up into the troposphere, the temperature decreases. At the top of this layer, The air temperature is about negative 60 degrees Celsius or negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Stratosphere. The stratosphere begins at the top of the troposphere and extends to about 50 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. Notice the troposphere below, stratosphere is next, and then mesosphere would be after that. If we were traveling on a weather balloon, it would most likely be found in the stratosphere. If we were doing a spy plane or a blue jet, it would be close to the stratosphere, but not quite. Kind of in the area between the stratosphere and the troposphere. But definitely if you were traveling in a weather balloon, it would be in the stratosphere. Now, the stratosphere, as you move up into the stratosphere, the air temperature actually increases. UV protection by the ozone layer. Stratosphere. This occurs because of ozone. Ozone is a gas that absorbs solar radiation and releases it as heat. The stratosphere or good ozone protects life on Earth from the sun's harmful UV rays or ultraviolet rays. So the ozone is found in the stratosphere. Ozone layer. It filters dangerous ultraviolet rays that come from the sun. Yay for the ozone layer. Stratosphere. The ozone layer. Ozonosphere is located at the bottom of the stratosphere. Ozone layer, stratosphere. Next is mesosphere. The mesosphere begins at about 50 kilometers or 31 miles above the Earth's surface and extends to 80 kilometers, 50 miles. And the mesosphere is above the stratosphere and the troposphere, but right below the thermosphere. Mesosphere. As you move up into the mesosphere, the air temperature decreases. Temperatures at the top of this layer can drop down as low as negative 90 degrees Celsius or negative 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Mesosphere. Mesosphere protects the Earth. Interestingly, it protects the Earth. And how does it do so? Well, meteoroids entering the Earth's atmosphere usually burn up in the mesosphere. Thermosphere. The thermosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth's atmosphere. So we've talked about tropo, we've talked about strata, we talked about mesa, and now we're talking about thermo, which is the thermosphere. Now in this layer, you're going to find satellites orbiting Earth. So let's talk about it. You have your thermosphere, which represent the region between the middle atmosphere and somewhere in the upper atmosphere. And we talked about the temperature conditions. And you also should know that the thermosphere is responsible for the northern and southern lights. So it begins at 80 kilometers or 50 miles above the Earth and extends outward into space. Sometimes the thermosphere and exosphere is listed as separate layers. Thermosphere, thermo. The higher you move in this layer, the higher the temperature. Temperatures in the thermosphere can reach as high as 1800 degrees Celsius or 3300 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty high. Thermosphere. The beautiful colors of the aurora borealis or northern lights occur in this atmospheric layer. Thermosphere. This is also where the space shuttle orbits the Earth. Thermosphere. Notice the orbiting shuttle. Thermosphere. The ionosphere is found at the bottom of the thermosphere, close to the mesosphere. The exosphere is located at the top of the thermosphere. And to reiterate, these are the layers starting from the troposphere going up to the strato, meso, thermo, and exo. Troposphere is the 10 miles that we exist in. It's the lowest part. It's where airplanes fly. and it's where we are located. It also is the smallest of the layers. Next, you have the stratosphere, which is right above the troposphere. And following that, you have the mesosphere. Now, the stratosphere is where the ozone is, and it protects us from the harsh UV radiation. The mesosphere is where it protects us from meteoroids, and it protects them by burning them up. Thermosphere is the next region above that, and that's where you're going to find orbiting shuttles and satellites, so forth, above us. Now, reiterating about the trends of temperature, as you move up in the troposphere, air temperature decreases with height. With the stratosphere, air temperature increases with height. Mesosphere, the air temperature decreases with height. The thermosphere, although for some reason it's spelled thermosphere, increases with height. And the air temperature decreases with height when you reach the exosphere. So the tropo, meso, and exosphere all have temperatures that decrease with height, whereas the strato and thermosphere have air temperatures that increase with height.